Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks 40k channel. Today we have a very special battle report. We have our first Horus Heresy battle report today. So we have Death Guard versus Emperor's Children. We are on a outer world of the Imperium that has fallen to Horus and his traitor legions. During the fight, you've got Fulgrim and you've got Mortarion. These guys have come to blows, and while on the battlefield, they've turned their guns upon themselves. So it's going to be Legion versus Legion who will come out victorious. So today we are doing the Cloak and Shadows mission, escalation mission. So the 6 objective markers down, but for a slight change, we are doing the tactical objective deck from the Throne of Skulls tournament. So both players will be drawing their tactical objectives from that deck. So objective markers, we have got objective marker 3 down there behind the remnants of the last battle. Objective marker 1 we've got inside one of the ruined buildings. Objective marker 6 and objective marker 2 in the middle of the board in the defiled centre of the city, the chaos symbol. Down this end of the board into the manufacturium part of the board we have objective 5 behind the Prometheus pipelines, and finally we have objective marker 4 here.
Lord of War for the Emperor's Children, we have Fulgrim today. HQ choices, we have Illidan, a level 1 librarian and a Legion champion. So that's his HQ choices. Over to troops, we have a 10-man tactical squad. The sergeant has a power sword and artificer armour. Next, a 17-man tactical squad. Again, sergeant, power armour and artificer armour. Big blob squad. Over to elite, we have a Mortar's Contempt to Dreadnought with the Havoc launchers sitting on top of his shoulders, ready to rain fire down on the Death Guard. Next, we have the second elite squad, which is 5 Phoenix Guard Terminators in a Land Raider. Fast attack, 2 Javelin land speeders armed with las cannons and multi-melters. And finally, we have a Spartan tank for heavy support. So that is Bale's 2,500 point Emperor's Children.
Lord of War for the Death Guard today, we have Mortarion. He unlocks the Pride of the Legion. HQ, we have the Death Shroud Terminators. So they are the compulsory HQ for the army for today. Next HQ, we have a Primary Medicare. Troops, we have a 5-man veteran squad in a Rhino. Next, we have another 5-man veteran squad, again in a Rhino. We have a Mortis pattern Contempt to Dreadnought. Next we have a Scorpius patterned Whirlwind. Next we have a Sakaran tank. We also have a Spartan. We have a Storm Eagle. And next we have the Xiphon Flyer. So that is Ed's 2,500 point Death Guard army that's going to be taking on the Emperor's Children today. Deployment for the Death Guard. We have a Rhino with one of their veteran squads over this side of the board ready to jump on tactical objective 1. Over here we have the Spartan tank and the Contempt to Dreadnought. Inside of the Spartan there is Mortarion, the Death Shroud Terminators and the Primus Medicare. Back here we have the Whirlwind who's hunkered down behind the building. Over here we have the Sakaran tank ready to move up towards the middle of the board. And finally, we have the second Rhino with the other veteran squad in. Again, hunkered down behind the building for a bit of cover on the first turn, ready to boost his engines up and move up the board. Deployment for the Emperor's Children. The Contempt to Dreadnought is hunkered down behind the big ruins of one of the buildings here, getting a lot of cover. Next, we have the Land Raider. In there are the Phoenix Guard Terminators in the middle of the board, and then we also have the Spartan tank. So in the Spartan tank there is one of the tactical squad. We have Fulgrim the Librarian, the Legion Champion and Eidolon. So pretty much everybody is in that Spartan ready to move up the board towards Ed. And finally, hidden away inside this building is the other tactical squad. Tactical objectives for the Emperor's Children. We've got Hungry for Glory, which is if you issue a challenge, you get a victory point, or 3 or more challenges, you get D3 victory points. Blood and Guts, completely wipe out an enemy unit during the assault phase. And secure objective 4. So with that in mind, and objective 4 being down here, Bale has moved his first tactical squad out of the building, but didn't do very well on his roll to come out to the door. So I'm guessing he'll be running in his shooting phase. So these guys are obviously trying to get over to objective 4. The only other things that have really moved up, because he hasn't got much on the board at the moment, is the Spartan, the Land Raider, and the Contemptor Dreadnought. They are hurtling up through the city square, heading down towards the Death Guard, who are standing firm at the moment, prepared to take a volley of fire before returning fire themselves. The tactical squad have ran up towards objective 4, securing that one for Bale, so that means he'll get that victory point. The Spartan opened up at the Sakaran, not touching it. The Land Raider, Power of the Machine, spirited his one last cannon sponson, hitting it, taking off a hull point and immobilising it. The rest of the other last cannon and the Contemptor Dreadnought opened up at the other Contemptor Dreadnought, hitting it and not doing anything at all. So out of how many dice, Bale?
12 dice,
out
10
of
hits.
12 dice, 10 hits, and then he rolled 7 ones.
7 ones.
So that's gone really, really well. So the end of Bale's first turn, he secures objective 4. So he has 1 victory point at the moment. So Ed's objectives for this turn, we have the Legion's Might, which is where if every single unit in your army causes a unsaved wound or a hull point damage, then you score D3 victory points. We have Assassinate, which is basically take off a character, and Secure Objective 1. So Secure Objective 1, I think Ed might be okay with that one, as his Rhino is literally sitting underneath it. As a little note, you might see there's Legion names underneath some of these tactical objectives decks. So basically, if your Legion is at the bottom, you will score an extra victory point as well as the victory point for doing the mission. So the only thing Ed has moved this turn is his Contemptor Dreadnought. That has moved up, getting ready to lay some shots down, possibly on the other Contemptor or the Land Raider. So the Spartan has stayed still, the Sakaran is immobilised, and this Rhino is literally sitting there with his engine ticking over, waiting to enter the fray. And this one obviously isn't moving because that will score Ed a victory point. The Sakaran, the Whirlwind, and the Spartan tank all opened up, not doing anything. So that was some really good shooting from Ed there. The Contemptor Dreadnought opened up on the other Contemptor Dreadnought, taking a hull point off, and it is crew shaken now. So I think we're going to be getting a bit of a Contemptor versus Contemptor off. That's right, I think so. So objective-wise for Ed, he scores objective 1. So he's currently 1-all. Bale's new objective for this turn is secure objective 3, so that's right down the other side of the board. This squad here have stayed still. The Contemptor Dreadnought has also stayed still inside there. He's quite enjoying his cover save inside of the building. The Land Raider has moved up a little bit, getting close towards the other Contemptor and the other Spartan. The Spartan for the Emperor's Children has moved this way. This is where objective marker 3 is. So the Spartans move round. Everybody has jumped out, getting ready to go into the Sakaran and the other Rhino that's down here. So we have a Primarch on the table. Fulgrim is out, surrounded by his children, ready to mop up some of the Death Guard on this side of the board. The speeders that have come on from reserve opened up at the Whirlwind, causing a penetrating hit, but it's only crew stunned, I think it was, wasn't it, Bal? Yeah, so we're down a hull point and it can't fire its barrage weapon. Over here, the Spartan opened up with one of the last cannon sponsons at the Rhino, did nothing. The other Lascan Sponson opened up at the Sakaran, doing nothing. The Land Raider opened up at the Contemptor, again doing nothing. And the Contemptor opened up again, doing nothing. So pretty much overall for Bale that turn, not a lot happened apart from taking a hull point off the Whirlwind. So Fulgrim and his bodyguard all made it into combat with the Sakaran tank, stripping off the remaining hull points and destroying it. Luckily for him, it didn't actually blow up in his own face. So we have some Emperor's Children here on objective marker 3. So objective scored for Bale this turn. He has scored objective 3, and he's also scored Blood and Guts. So, and First Blood as well. So that would be 3 victory points for him this turn. So Ed has 2 new objectives. He has no prisoners, which is if you completely destroy an enemy unit during your turn. And also Scorched Earth. So Scorched Earth is score a victory point if you take an enemy unit out of your deployment zone. D3 victory points if you take an enemy unit out of the opponent's deployment zone in the same one. However, this one is a Death Guard tactical objective. So with that in mind, the Xiphon Interceptor has come on, fully looking at the speeders that are there. The Spartan tank has reversed a little bit. I'm sure the Lascans will be spinning around, ready to try and take these out of the deployment zone, scoring Ed a victory point. And the other reserve of the Storm Eagle is also on. So this is now on, possibly looking at the troops down the bottom, or the Land Raider, or the Contemptor Dreadnought. Got quite a few different fire options there. The Rhino down here has stayed still. Everything else kind of hasn't moved. So the Death Guard are kind of backing up a little bit, but it's probably a good move from Ed. The Storm Eagle opened up at the Land Raider that was down here, blowing it sky high. The Phoenix Guard Terminators have emerged from the wreckage unscathed, so they're out and they're annoyed. The Contemptor Dreadnought opened up at the other Contemptor Dreadnought down there, stripping off another hull point. Down this side of the board, the Flyer and the Spartan tank opened up on the speeders, destroying one. So victory points this turn for Ed. He has scored no prisoners, which is destroying enemy units. So that's another victory point for Ed. So he is on 2 to Bale's 4. So Bale's 2 new objectives. He has Ascendancy, which is score D3 victory points if you're holding 3 objectives at the end of your turn and behind enemy lines, which is basically get a unit into the enemy's deployment zone. So movement, these guys have moved up, securing their position on objective 4. Over here, the Spartan has moved around a little bit, probably going to be putting some firepower down onto the Rhino. Fulgrim and his squad of tactical marines have moved round over here now, so they're also scoring objective 3, so that's 2 for Bale at the moment. So we've got the Rhino in charge range here. Over here, the Legion Champion has broken off from the squad. Looks like he might be heading down towards the Whirlwind. And at the back of the board, the Speeder has flown underneath the Flyer, span round, and is looking at the rear of it. Its armour value is the same all the way around, but he's going to try and get a lucky pot shot at it over here, trying to take that off. And then over here, the Phoenix Guard that were in the Land Raider when it went pop have moved forward. They are leaving objective 6 because that's far too in the open, and looks like they're going to try and get objective 1. So during the psychic phase, Bale cast Presence. That was the one, thank you. But he managed to Perils of the War Pit, so he's taken a wound down there. Down here, the Spartan opened up on the Land Raider, causing 1 glance, 3 pens. But because of the cover save, only one of them managed to get through. So, yeah, that's down a hull point. Down here, the Contemptor opened up, and the other Contemptor finally taken off a hull point, and he's also lost his right arm as well, so he's only down to a D6. So I think that's pretty much everything shot from Bale's army. So he's obviously going to go quite heavy into assault, hopefully make this charge hopefully make that charge. Well, he will make that charge down there. So we'll see what survives on this side of the board at the end of the assault phase. Little side note, the speeder opened up at the flyer, and basically Ed just jinked everything. The Legion champion made it into combat with the Whirlwind. Only managed to strip another hull point off it though. A bit annoying for Bale, that one. Down here, Fulgrim and the guys made it into combat with the Rhino, removing the rest of the hull points, so the Death Guard are out. They are going to probably have to do a heroic last stand here, because they've got Fulgrim and quite a lot of other guys waiting to kill them, basically. So on victory points, let's go and have a look. So Bale scores Ascendancy, D3 victory points if you control 3 objective markers, which he does, which he rolled a 1 on, so he's got 1 on that. Behind enemy lines, he has scored as well because he has the Javelin, he has the Legion Champion, and he has the squad with the Rhino. So he scored 2 victory points for that. So how many is that, mate, Bale?
3.
3 this turn, so that's good going. That's 7 for Bale and 2 for Ed at the moment. So Ed's new tactical objectives this turn. We have hold the line behind enemy lines, and he's still got Scorched Earth. So behind enemy lines, don't think he's going to do that because that's getting somebody in within 12 inches of the board edge. But hold the line, he might be able to do. And with that, Mortarion, the Death Shroud Terminators, and the Prime Medicare are out. So we have the Speeder and possibly the Legion Champion within range of these guys to clear these out. Over here, the tactical squad has stayed still. Probably minds to rapid fire these guys here, trying to whittle them down and get them out of the 12 inches. The 2 flyers have screamed up the board. Yeah, not sure what Ed's going to do there, but I'm sure he'll do something. And over here, the Contemptor has done a little wiggle, in Ed's words, so he's going to probably more than likely shoot the Terminators. The Storm Eagle opened up at the squad down here, killing off 3. Combination of the las cannons and the missiles opening up down there. The Contemptor Dreadnought ignored the Terminators this turn and went for the other Contemptor Dreadnought, stripping it of hull points and completely taking it off. Down here, these guys here opened up at the squad with rapid fire bolters, taking a wound off Fulgrim, so Fulgrim has been hurt. I'm sure he's quite annoyed about that. Down here, the Whirlwind opened up on this squad, killing, I think it was like 5 in the end. And down here, Mortarion has done his, what's it called, Ed? The Death Shroud or something?
I call it ghosting.
Ghosting. So he's moved basically during his shooting phase, so he can still assault. So it looks like he'll be going in down here against the Legion Champion. Mortarion made it into combat with the Legion Champion and just smacked him around the face with his scythe and split him open. So he's gone. Down here, the Death Shroud Terminators made it into combat with the Javelin Speeder, blowing it up. One Terminator did take a wound from the results and explosion. So because of that, Ed scores hold the line because there's no enemy units within 12 inches of his deployment zone. He's managed to clear everything off. So that's 1 victory point. But he also gets an extra victory point for it being a Death Guard card. So that's always good. Right, Scorched Earth, he also scores that one. So score 1 victory point if an enemy unit is destroyed in your deployment zone. So that's another victory point. But again, he gets another victory point because it's a Death Guard card. So it's currently 7-6 on victory points. So the objective markers for Bale, we have Hungry for Glory, Domination, which is basically hold every single objective marker, and Secure Objective 6. So 6 being in the middle of the board, and basically probably Bale not having enough miniatures to hold every single objective. So the movement, the Spartan tank has moved back a bit and pivoted round, looking to try and get some shots off maybe at the flyers, maybe the Contemptor Dreadnought. That is obviously all the way over there with the Terminators. Down here, the guys with Fulgrim have got out of the building and have moved round. Illidan has moved up towards the tactical squad here. So, yeah, it looks like they're going to try and sweep round here. Maybe take out Mortarion The Spartan tank opened up at the Contemptor that is hiding away down there. Actually managed to hit it and cause a glance, but Ed managed to save it with the shield. Down here, Illidan, yeah, him, opened up with his Architect pistol, shooting one of the tactical marines in the face and killing him. Eidolon has made it into combat, killing off the 4 remaining veteran marines that were there, so they've gone. Over here, Fulgrim and the guys made it into combat with the Whirlwind, taking that out. Obviously, as a little bit of sweet revenge for the missiles that was dropped on the squad's head. So at the end of turn 4 for the Emperor's Children, Bale has scored Secure Objective 6, which is Terminators are on down there. And he's also scored Hungry for Glory, which is score 1 victory point if you kill somebody off in a challenge, is what Eidolon did with the sergeant in that squad. And he will be discarding Domination for next turn. So Ed's new tactical objectives, he has Witch Hunter, so basically kill off a Psyker, Blood and Guts, complete destroy a unit in the assault phase, and Secure Objective 5. Secure Objective 5 is all the way down here, so that one probably isn't going to happen. In the movement phase, Mortarion and the Death Shroud Terminators have got back into the Spartan. They're hunkering down, they're getting a bit of cover. They can see Fulgrim over the top of the destroyed Whirlwind, so they've gone back, taking a bit of cover there. Down here, the Contemptor Dreadnought has stood still this turn. He's going to be putting a lot of firepower probably into the Terminators, I'd have thought. And down here, the Flyers have moved up, looking at clearing out the back lines of the Emperor's Children. The 2 Flyers opened up on the tactical squad that were down here, wiping them out. A combination of las cannon fire and missiles just absolutely obliterated these guys. Definitely death from above going on over there. Over here, the Terminators have been decimated really by the Contemptor Dreadnought, the 1 Sponson and the Heavy Bolters from the Spartan tank open up into them. So there's 1 guy left. It's going to be a big charge range for Ed to get his tactical objective of killing something in an assault phase, so yeah, and through rubble as well. The Power of the Machine Spirit, the las cannon over here, but the Spartan, but obviously didn't do anything. The Mortis Contemptor made it into combat down here. He actually rolled a 12 to get in. Hit him, wounded him, Bale saved. So Bale decided to, rather than hit back and not do anything, because he can't, he decided to flee. So he's gone up to the edge of the building where the Rhino is behind. But Ed scores no tactical objectives that turn. Bale's objectives for this turn, we have score objective 3, overwhelming firepower, which is destroy something during the shooting phase, and then sending a message, which is kill an enemy unit during the assault phase with 2 or more of your units. So, on the movement front, the Terminator that ran away from the Contemptor Dreadnought has come round here. It's going to be going into the side of that Rhino. There is a squad of veteran marines in there, so that'll be an interesting one. And over here, Fulgrim has moved back. Illidan has rejoined the squad, so they are going on to objective 3. So Bale will score at least 1 victory point this turn. So the Spartan opened up at the Contemptor, removing the last of its hull points, so that is now a wreck. That is the only thing to open fire this turn. So in the assault phase, I'm guessing the guy with the Rhino down there will be going into assault. The Terminator made it into combat with the Rhino, stripping off a hull point, but didn't actually manage to blow it up. So, victory points at the end of that turn. We have Bale scoring overwhelming firepower. He destroys something during the shooting phase, which is the Contemptor Dreadnought, and he's holding objective 3. So, Ed's tactical objectives, we have got Witch Hunter still. With the Librarian on the other side of the board, it's probably not going to happen. Blood and Guts, which is basically kill somebody off in the assault phase, and overwhelming firepower, kill something in the shooting phase. So with Blood and Guts in mind, Mortarion has stepped out of the Spartan. He's going to go around the back of the Terminator, tap him on the shoulder, and then smash him in the face with his scythe. So that could get quite messy down there. And over here, the one flyer has gone off, but the Storm Eagle has entered hover mode. There's quite a lot of H's in that. And he's going to try and pop the Spartan tank. If it doesn't work, next turn, we could see the end of the Storm Eagle, but he's got a chance at killing the Spartan tank this turn. The Spartan tank is still alive, hasn't even lost a hull point. Combined fire from the Storm Eagle and the other Spartan tank failed to do any damage whatsoever to this thing. So, yeah, it's got choices that it could open fire on next turn. Let's see what it does after we watch Mortarion hopefully slice apart the last of the Terminators. As thought, Mortarion went into combat and just absolutely minced the remaining Phoenix Guard Terminator that was there. So Ed scores Blood and Guts this turn, but he's also going to discard Witch Hunter because the Librarian is kind of all the way over there behind Fulgrim and behind all the Tactical Marines. Bale's new objectives for this turn, he has Assassinate, he has Secure Objective 5 and Scorched Earth, so I don't think he's going to be scoring anything this turn. Movement and shooting, so the only thing that's really moved is, well, the only thing that has actually moved is the Spartan tank. That's backed up a little bit, and the squad and Fulgrim have backed up into cover a little bit more. During the shooting phase, the Spartan opened up at the Storm Eagle, however, there was 2 hits, but Ed managed to jink both of them, so it's going to be over to Death Guard. So the objective markers are Secure Objective 5, Psychological Warfare and Overwhelming Firepower. So basically it's going to be all shots at the Spartan. In the movement phase, Mortarion has moved up a little bit, looking out at the window at Objective 5 all the way down the other end of the board, thinking, I wish I was over there. Spartan has moved round, the other flyer is back on, and the Storm Eagle has stayed in hover mode to open fire on the Spartan, which they all have, stripping off 2 hull points, and it is now immobilised. So Bale's new objective for this turn is Hold the Line, where you need to get 3 units in your own deployment zone. Everything is kind of down the other end. Movement, Spartan has stayed still because it's immobilised. Do these guys even move, Bale?
No.
Nope, so nobody moved. So shooting, the Spartan opened up at the Storm Eagle, stripping off 2 hull points and removing the multi-melters from the front gun. So it's going to be over to Ed for turn 7. So Ed's new tactical objective was Secure Objective 4, which is right down the other end of the board again. Basically, the only thing that moved was the Xiphon Flyer. That's come across the board a little bit. The Storm Eagle and the Spartan tank opened up at the Emperor's Children Spartan's tank and didn't actually manage to do any damage to it at all. So victory points at the end of the game. Ed got 7 on the left-hand side. He got 2 victory points of Scorched Earth and Hold the Line because of the Death Guard cards. Bale got 12 in total, so he got 2 for Ascendancy, and then he also got Line Breaker, and he also got First Blood. So there you go then, guys. That is our very first Horus Heresy game. Big thank you to Ed and to Bale for bringing the Emperor's Children, the Death Guard, over for this special battle report today. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I mean, I wasn't taking part, but it was still good fun to watch. Watching these armies taking to the battlefield. So Fulgrim is victorious and Mortarion will go back to his cruiser with his head low. So as always, guys, drop us a comment. Be interested to hear your feedback on this battle report. Like if you like, and we will see you guys soon.